Welcome to the Northwest Sports Fanatics YouTube channel. I am your host, Orion. Got a great show for you here today between the San Diego Padres and the Seattle Mariners. First pitch is going to be here in just a few minutes, so let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Saturday, everyone. And on the thumb, on the left, one of the best third basemen in the game, Manny Machado. And on the right, the best center fielder in the game, Julio Rodriguez. Now let's get into the starting lineup here quickly for the San Diego Padres. Leading off for the Padres in center field, Jackson Merrill. Batting second, playing second base, Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting third, DHing for San Diego, Manny Machado. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, first baseman, Gavin Sheets. Batting fifth, playing shortstop, Xander Bogaerts. Batting sixth, playing third base, Miguel Andujar. Batting seventh, playing right field, Nick Castellanos. Batting eighth, playing left field, Ramon Laureano. And batting ninth, catching today, Rodolfo Duran. And on the mound for the Padres with a 2-2 record, ERA of 5.20, it is Walker Buehler. And now let's get into the starting lineups here quickly for your Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Batting second, center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. Batting third, playing first base, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. Batting fifth, playing right field, Luke Raley. Batting sixth, playing second base, Cole Young. Batting seventh, DHing, it's the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. Batting eighth, catching today, is Johnny Pereda. And batting ninth, playing third base, is Leo Rivas. Mitch Garver and Brandon Donovan were late scratches from the lineup about 30 minutes to 45 minutes ago. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 2-3 record, ERA of 3.78, it is Logan Gilbert. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. We're going to be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. First pitch from Gilbert to Jackson Merrill. Fouls it off high and away. Splitter 80 miles an hour, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away with a cutter, 92 miles an hour. There by Logan. 1 ball and 1 strike to Logan Gilbert. AZ in the building, what's good? DJ in the building, what's good? Joe in the building, what's good? 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. Slider 88 miles an hour there by Logan Gilbert. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jackson Merrill. One-two pitch, and Jackson Merrill flies out to right, and that is 1 away. Good defense there by the Mariners. 1 up and 1 down. Next up for the Padres, playing second base today, Fernando Tatis Jr. First pitch to Tatis is high and inside, 96 miles an hour, 4-seam fastball, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss there by Tatis. 1 ball and 1 strike to Fernando Tatis Jr. Marine being in the building, what's good? 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Tatis Jr. And I don't know if it's just only me, but it just seems like every time they have a game on Fox, the Fox Sports app, or if you sign on to foxsports.com on your computer to link up your cable provider, it fucking never works. And then when it finally does work, it takes forever to log in. And luckily everything is good to go here, but it wasn't really loading for me on both ends, on the phone or the computer. Come on, Fox Sports. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and Logan Gilbert with his first strikeout of the game on Fernando Tatis Jr. We love that. And again, we don't have a Mariners TV broadcast either tomorrow. It's going to be Sunday Night Baseball, so plan accordingly. 2 up and 2 down. Down goes Fernando Tatis Jr. First punch out there for Logan Gilbert, bringing the electricity early. We like that. And that is 2 up and 2 down. Next up is Manny Machado. First pitch to Machado, fouls it off Pareda and goes towards first base. 0-1 count. I do believe that we're going to get above 500. You just got to be a little patient, and it's not like there's a lot of teams in the American League that are, above 500 right now. So, you got obviously the Rays and the Yankees, the Guardians, and then obviously the Athletics. And then everyone else, is pretty close, to 500 or a game or two below like us. But, eventually we'll get there. Pitch fouled off there, high and away. 0-2 pitch from Gilbert to Machado. A little slow dribbler towards third. Rivas is there. Hard throw to first to Naylor. Toe tap on the bag. And that is out number 3. Good clean start for Logan Gilbert, and we know how terrible he was in his first 2 starts. But since then, he's getting better and better, on every start. And he actually had a career high, or a season high, in 2026 of 9 Ks. And hopefully that'll be something that he'll be able to improve on, moving forward as well. Now let's see who's up next here for the Mariners in the bottom of the first inning. Leading off for the Mariners at shortstop, it is J.P. Crawford. Batting second, playing center field, Julio Rodriguez. And batting third, first baseman, it is Josh Naylor. And again, Mitch Garver as well as Brendan Donovan were late scratches. They were in the starting lineup a couple hours ago, but within the last 30 to 45 minutes, for whatever reason, they decided to go with Pareda again instead of Garver. And then I'm not sure if they're just being, cautious with Brendan Donovan. They're not having him play too many back-to-back or back-to-back-to-back games in a row. And again, I don't really see anything new per se on the injury report. So I think they're just kind of being a little extra cautious at the moment. Victor Robles due back May 16th. Gabe Spire, May 16th, and Brendan Donovan, May 17th. So it looks like Donnie is on the day-to-day, and I guess they just added Mitch Garver to the day-to-day as well. So we'll see if they end up being available tomorrow, see if they have a reason for either guy here. So just scratched from the lineup. They don't have a reason, so they don't have a reason for Mitch Garver either. So maybe they'll get into more details in that during the broadcast or after. Take a quick peek at Mitch Garver here as well. And yeah, it doesn't say anything. All right, Walker Buehler is on the mound. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. On the mound for the Padres, 2-2 record, ERA of 5.20. Walker Buehler, first pitch into J.P. Crawford, a line drive into left field, and that is 1 away. Right into Ramon Laureano's glove. One up and one down. And hopefully we'll be able to work the count a little bit. And again, it was a little challenging, obviously yesterday, and hopefully things will be a little bit better today. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. First pitch into Julio, four-seam fastball, high and away, 93 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. One pitch, fouled off right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. One-two pitch. Popped up and out of play. Sweeper 85 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. One-two pitch. Popped up and out of play. Bottom of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Padres and the Mariners. Walker Buehler on the mound, Julio Rodriguez in the box. One-two pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. And, I don't think it really matters how quick we get above 500, considering there's so many bad teams, in the American League. I mean, there's only 2 or 3 that are typically at 500 or above 500, and then everyone else is below. So, again, we're in second place in the division. Hasn't it gone the way that we wanted at this point, being 22 and 24, 12 and 12 at home? Absolutely not. But again, if you look at the overall spectrum, of the American League in general, there's not a lot of good teams. It's the Rays and the Yankees and everyone else. So, again, there's a lot of wiggle room. And again, at some point, teams will start to get hotter as the warmer weather comes about. And, obviously the National League is, racked up a lot more wins. They usually have about half of their teams above 500, with the Padres and the Dodgers and the Braves and everyone in the National League Central all above 500. So, it's different this year, but I'm not worried one bit. 3-2 pitch. Popped up, should be an easy play here in the infield, and it is caught. 2 up and 2 down as Julio flies out. Next up in the 3-hole, first baseman Josh Naylor. 247 average, 5 homers, 20 ribbies. Was the second worst hitter a few weeks ago in entire, of the MLB roster. Definitely has, implemented the leg kick and, got his confidence back and has actually been one of the better hitters in baseball since April 19th. And let's see if he can continue to keep it going. First pitch is fouled off there by Naylor. Cutter 90 miles an hour by Buehler, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike looking with that sinker down the middle. 94 miles an hour there by Buehler. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Bottom of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Padres and the Mariners. Oh-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Buehler to Naylor. And obviously this is definitely a weird, kind of year for the American League, but, plenty of time to be able to get above 500 and turn things around. And, it's not like there's only going to be 2 or 3 teams with an above 500 record all year for the American League. There'll be a few other teams that, come to the party, whether that be the Guardians, the Mariners, and the Athletics. Those 3 teams definitely have a good shot, as well as a few others. Pitch is high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. 2-2 pitch by Buehler. Pops it up into shallow center field. And Jackson Merrill is there, and that is 3 up and 3 down. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Let's see who's up next here for San Diego. Got to try to win today and tomorrow. Gilbert on the mound today, Kirby on the mound tomorrow. We should have a chance. Next up in the 4-hole, first baseman Gavin Sheets. Batting second in the 5-hole, shortstop Xander Bogaerts. And batting third in the 6-hole, third baseman Miguel Andujar. And on the mound for the Mariners, our ace, 2-3 record, ERA of 3.78. It is Walter, a.k.a. Logan Gilbert. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 44 subs away from 24,100. Gained a sub since our last commercial break. Appreciate you. 43 subs to go to 24,100. Let's see where we're at on our likes. All right, we're at 21 likes so far. 79 to go. And every dono that we can get today and tomorrow will help go towards the Paisley Pup Vet Fund. She's got an ear infection, and I ended up just taking her to the vet a few weeks ago. And, that was a pretty hefty visit. It's like $440. And so I imagine this vet visit will be about half that. But again, I have a cone already since she's had one in the past. And I imagine the medication and the visit alone is going to be, a couple hundred. So, anything that can be done, by anybody today and tomorrow, as well as the individuals that helped yesterday, would be greatly appreciated to help kind of soften the blow with how much the vets cost nowadays. Let's go to the top of the second inning, 0-0 here early between the Padres and the Mariners. Top of the second inning, global broadcast here on Fox. I would rather have this game be on Mariners TV, but it is what it is. And then tomorrow, it's not on Mariners TV either. We're going to be on Sunday Night Baseball. So we are getting a kind of a global viewership today and tomorrow. And hopefully we can, put our right foot forward, considering we put up a 0 yesterday. So we got to be better. First pitch, takes a strike looking down the middle, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, hard hit ball, deep right field, back, and gone. Into the front row, Gavin Sheets with a solo dinger on Logan Gilbert, and we are down early again, 1-0 San Diego. Come on, Logan. We need you to settle down and settle in. We can't have you giving up, multiple home runs. And that's the first one already from Gavin Sheets. Luckily, it was only a solo dinger. Next up, in the 5-hole, shortstop Xander Bogaerts. And that was a big 382 feet homer there into right field, and it was a no-doubter. And bottom line is, like, when we play teams, like this, it's not easy. When you play the Dodgers or the Padres or the Braves, or any team in the National League Central, even though we did beat up on the Cardinals, and again, when we play the better teams, like if when we play the Rays and the Yankees, it's going to be a really tough challenge, just like it is when we play the Guardians. And we just have to hope that he's got a short-term memory. He can put that behind him, and he gives up 3 runs or less. He's already given up 1. We can't give up a whole lot more. And hopefully we can end up getting the bats to come alive at some point as well. First pitch is fouled off there by Bogaerts, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and away, big swing and a miss by Xander. No balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Bogaerts. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Bogaerts. One-two pitch, big swing and a miss. But to be fair, there's not a lot of teams that can beat the Padres. I mean, they're one of the best teams in baseball. They got the best closer in baseball, and they got a few Hall of Fame players on their team. So, it's not like we're playing some bottom feeder team. They're one of the best in baseball and have been for the last few years. Down goes Bogaerts swinging. Next up is Miguel Andujar, one of the heroes from last night. First pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle with that slider, 86 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Andujar in the box. Logan Gilbert on the mound. Sean in the building. What's good? 0-1 pitch. Hard hit ball. Shallow left field. And that is 2 away. Nice catch there by Randy. Yeah, I mean, and again, you understand, Sean, and they're my children as well. I only have one, but it's like my, dog daughter. Nothing is more important to me in my life besides Paisley than this channel here. So, anytime, you end up having to take a pup to a vet visit, depending on what needs to be done, it definitely isn't cheap. Like I said, the last, meeting that I had, which is usually I try to go once a year unless there's an emergency. And, just a few weeks ago, I had to pay, close to $500, for her, yearly visit. But then she needed some vaccines that she hasn't had since she was a baby, so that definitely upped the cost and whatnot. And then, now just a few weeks later, she gets her first ear infection that she's ever had in her life. And, just got to be able to deal with it. Little dribbler towards third. Rivas throw to Naylor just in time. And down goes Nick Castellanos at first base. I imagine this visit, though, is not going to be, as expensive. I already have a cone, from, in the past where she, has gone in and ended up having to, get treated and whatnot. So that'll save, about $30-$40 having a cone already. I think I have 2, but just the visit alone, and then the medication to kind of flush out her ear and everything else. And then medication to continue to make sure that she's okay. I assume it's going to be like $150 to, $200 visit. So anything that can be done, through Venmo, Cash App, or the super chat, obviously from the people yesterday, today, and tomorrow, that'll definitely soften the blow and make things a little bit easier. Cause when you end up having a soul dog, or a soul cat, if you've ever had one before, you'll never forget it. It changes your life for the better. And it definitely has for me. All right, let's go to the bottom of the second inning and see if the Mariners can tie up the game after that big electric Gavin Sheets home run on Logan Gilbert. And hopefully that'll be the only home run he gives up. We have to hope that he gives up 3 runs or less, and we can put up 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. And if we're able to do that, we should be able to compete late in this game. Next up for the Mariners, here in the bottom of the second inning, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Batting second in the 5-hole, right fielder Luke Raley. Let's see if we can get a nuke out of Luke. And batting third in the 6-hole, second baseman Cole Young. And on the mound for the Padres with a 2-2 record, ERA of 5.20, Walker Buehler. So we should be able to do a little damage on Walker. It definitely was a better pitcher when he was on the Dodgers, had his ups and downs with the Red Sox, and there's a little bit of wiggle room against Buehler for sure. Trident's up. Let's go M's. 43 subs to go to 24,100. We're looking for our first dono on our dono train for the Paisley Pup Vet Fund. And let's see where we're at on the likes here as we transition to the bottom of the second inning. Looks like we're at 26. 74 to go. Power code in the building. Yeah, solo dinger by Gavin Sheets. 382 feet, but I guess it, on the bright side, at least it was only a solo dinger rather than being down 2-0 or 3-0 early. So, we got to be positive. And Brendan Donovan and Mitch Garver were scratched from the lineup, about 30 minutes before first pitch. So, they're not really playing Donnie too much, probably not wanting to re-aggravate any type of injuries and whatnot. But, it would be nice to be able to get Donnie, every single day. But, it seems like they're trying to, kind of limit a little bit of the workload here early on so he doesn't have another injury. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. 0-2 pitch, low and away with a cutter, missing there by Buehler. 89 miles an hour, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Yeah, unfortunately, Austin, a lot of us would rather have, as we have a little dribbler up the middle here by Randy Arozarena. He actually hustles to first, Batting helmet flies off his head, but he is out, and that is one away. But I like the hustle there from Randy. But, unfortunately, when we end up having pitching changes, Dan Wilson's going to manage the game just like every other manager. And, they're going to end up taking out Luke Raley and Dominic Canzone and unfortunately bringing in Ref Snyder and Connor Joe. And that's the Mariners' fault for not getting better right-handed hitters, to come in for those guys, as well as not bolstering the bullpen even more. We shouldn't have to worry about backup position players. We should be focused on the bullpen and right-handed hitting, in the future. And hopefully we'll be able to do that. But, when you end up getting one of your better hitters out of the lineup, it definitely hurts our chances, because I think Luke Raley and Dominic Canzone are good enough, as we can see here, to get hits, based on anybody being a lefty or a righty. It's like, if you have Ichiro in the lineup, are you taking Ichiro out just because someone comes in? No, you're not, and again, I'm not saying that Luke Raley is Ichiro, but, again, there's certain guys that you shouldn't really have to worry about it. It should be someone that, has proven that he has upped his game from last year to this year. One of the best hitters. Luke Raley gets another hit here again. And again, I would rather see Luke Raley strike out rather than having necessarily Rob Ref Snyder or Connor Joe come in. Now, every once in a while, Ref Snyder and Joe will get a hit. But, I would rather have, Dom and Luke play all game, no matter what. But again, it's not our choice, unfortunately. First pitch to Cole Young is high and away, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike, looking low and away with a cutter. 1 ball and 1 strike from Buehler to Young. And a nice base knock there by Luke Raley. Love what he's done with his game defensively and offensively. And let's see if Cole can come up with a clutch hit rather than at the end of the game, maybe early in the game. 1-1 pitch to Cole. Takes another strike, looking down the middle. Knuckle curve, 78 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cole Young. One-two pitch, and a hard hit ball into center field, but right to Jackson Merrill, and that is 2 away. Next up in the 7-hole, DHing Dominic Canzone. Walker Buehler on the mound. The Italian Stallion, Dominic Canzone in the box. They got Bryce Miller mic'd up right now. Had a really good start, on his first appearance. And hopefully he'll be able to feed off that moving forward in the season. Throw to first. Luke Raley is safe. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. First pitch from Buehler to Canzone. Fouls that one behind the plate to the T-Mobile bricks. Cutter 90 miles an hour. 0-1 count. One pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to Dominic Canzone. Bottom of the second inning, 1-0 Padres with a solo dinger by Gavin Sheets. And again, hopefully we can limit the damage as the game continues. Got to try to win today and tomorrow. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Buehler to Canzone. And obviously going over the Luke Raley situation and Dominic Canzone, I guess if you want to compare it to maybe someone more on their level instead of Ichiro, like J.P. Crawford. You don't see J.P. Crawford leaving the game when it's a righty or lefty. They let him play. So why aren't we doing it for Luke, and Dominic Canzone? And a nice stolen bag there by Luke Raley just in time. And I get it for Dom, because he's going to be streaky, but we still trust him more times than not. And Luke, let's be honest, Luke has been one of the best hitters overall, on the team. At one point he was leading, with home runs and RBIs. And, anytime a guy can get you a grand slam and a 3-run jack and get 7 ribbies in a game that he did a few games ago, that definitely shows that, he needs to be in the lineup, every single day. And again, you can have him or Dominic Canzone, or when Victor Robles comes back, play in right field, even though Dom is the primary DH. And again, Dominic Canzone forcing the walk on pitch number 6. I like that. And now we got runners at first and second with 2 outs. And we're getting a little bit of a mini meltdown here by Walker Buehler. So Donovan and Garver were just late scratches. I went on, to the team website and ESPN, and there is no reason given. So they say they are listed day to day. So I don't know if it's a minor injury. They're just being cautious with Donnie, after his injury, not wanting to play him too much, or something with Garver if they have some kind of illness. But again, they don't have any specifics on the website right now, but hopefully they'll be in the lineup tomorrow. We got George Kirby on the bump tomorrow, so we're going to need him. First pitch to Johnny Pereda from Walker Buehler. Takes a strike looking high and away on the corner. 0-1 count. Yeah, being a right-handed pitcher, doesn't have anything to do with it. Oh, 1 pitch, fouled off high and away. No balls and 2 strikes from Buehler to Pereda. Plus, they typically aren't going to have the same guy catch as a backup, you would think. They're not going to have Garver go, you would think, multiple games in a row, or Pereda. They're going to probably be alternating, for the most part. Maybe 2 games in a row for, a certain guy here and there, like for Pereda or for Garver. But I assume that they're going to try to, even the load a little bit while we wait for Cal to come back in about 7 to 10 days. 0-2 pitch. And Pereda pops it up behind the plate to the T-Mobile bricks. Cutter 92 miles an hour there by Walker Buehler. No balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second. Rayleigh at second. Dominic Canzone at first with 2 outs. And let's see if Pereda can end up getting anything. Because again, let's be honest, when it ends up being Pereda, Mitch Garver, Rob Refsnyder, or Connor Joe, we expect nothing. So if they end up giving us anything, a single, a double, getting walked, an RBI, a home run, I mean, we're ecstatic, because I know, at least for me, I have 0 expectations for those guys. So if they end up doing anything, it could definitely be huge for us. Until they can prove that they can hit consistently, then expectations will change. 1-2 pitch, hard hit ball into right field, fading foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Buehler to Pereda. Now, obviously, as we go into tomorrow morning, there might be, a reason listed for Donnie and Garv if they miss tomorrow's game, but hopefully not. We have Kirby on the mound tomorrow. We got to try to find a way to beat this Padre team. We have the Astros number, but the Padres have ours, unfortunately. 1-2 pitch, high and away. Slider 86 miles an hour right on the corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Johnny Pereda. And it kind of makes you wonder if we still had Andrew Kisner or even Harry Ford, if we didn't do the trade for Jose Ferrer, what would that look like for us? Same thing with Ben Williamson. If we still had him on the team, at third base to fill in for Donnie after his injury instead of Leo Rivas, how would that have affected us? Makes you kind of wonder. Pitch is low and away. 4-seam fastball there by Buehler missing. 3-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss, and down goes Pereda. And we leave 2 runners stranded, which is unfortunate. But again, when you end up having a lower end catcher, as a backup, you can't really expect too much. End of the second inning, 1-0 Padres. But hopefully Pereda will be able to step up in that situation later in the game and hopefully be able to get a hit and maybe even an RBI. End of the second inning, 1-0 San Diego. Let's go to the top of the third inning and see who's up next here for the Padres. Next up for the Padres in the 8-hole, left fielder Ramon Laureano. Batting second in the 9-hole, catching Rodolfo Duran. And batting third, 0-for-1 center fielder, leadoff hitter Jackson Merrill. And on the mound for the Mariners, Coming into the game with a 2-3 record, 3.78 ERA, started off the year 0-2, so he has been pretty good. He's been 2-1 since then, Logan Gilbert, and he ended up having a season high career, not career high, but season high in 2026, 9 Ks on his last start, so hopefully he can feed off that. Tridents up, let's go M's. 43 subs to go to 24,100. Looks like we gained another sub since the last commercial break. Appreciate you. 42 subs to go to 24,100. We'll see where we're at on the likes. And we're at 38. $62 more to 100. And we're still looking for our first dono on our dono train for the Paisley Pup Vet Fund on Monday. End of the second inning, 1-0 Padres. And if you're just tuning into the broadcast, Gavin Sheets, homer to right center, 382 feet on Logan Gilbert in the top of the second inning, making it a 1-0 lead. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Global broadcast here on Fox. First pitch in there to Laureano is in there for a strike, 0-1 count. And plus you have to realize too, the Padres are, like when you play the Braves or the Dodgers, or the Yankees, normally they're going to put up a lot of runs because they have a really, really good team. So, no matter who's pitching for us, sometimes they're going to get roughed up by just the talent on the opposite side, and again, we've seen the White Sox improve tremendously, from the last few years, obviously into this year with Munetaka Murakami and, with Vargas, as well as Colson Montgomery improving their game. And let's be real, the Padres have been good and they've been World Series contenders for the last couple years. So especially when they have like Hall of Fame type of players, with Tatis and Machado, Jackson Merrill's an up and coming stud, they got a lot of talent top to bottom, and they got the best closer in the game, Mason Miller, and we saw that last night. 1-2 pitch, little dribbler towards third base and foul. Slider 86 miles an hour there by Logan Gilbert. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ramon Laureano. One-two pitch from Gilbert, and Laureano pops it up into shallow right field. Cole Young calls everyone off and makes the catch. Good communication there between him, Luke Raley, and Josh Naylor, and that is 1 away. Let's go, baby. Win it for Riz. Down goes Laureano. Next up is Rodolfo Duran. Career versus the Padres in the 5 starts, 4-1 record for Logan Gilbert. So at least we have that going for us. First pitch to Rodolfo Duran. Big swing and a miss. 0-1 count. One pitch in there for a strike right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Durant. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour there by Logan. 0-2 pitch, low and away. Splitter 82 miles an hour there by Gilbert. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the third inning, 1-0 Padres. Come on, Logan. 1-2 pitch from Gilbert and gets Duran to pop up into shallow left field. And J.P. Crawford hustling there in the left field in front of Randy to make that play. And that is 2 up and 2 down. Next up, center fielder, leadoff hitter, Jackson Merrill. Gilbert on the mound, Merrill in the box. First pitch to Jackson Merrill, low and at the knees, four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Top of the third inning, 1-0 San Diego with a Gavin Sheets solo dinger in the top of the second inning. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss there by Jackson Merrill. He was going for the moon on that swing. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gilbert to Merrill. Beautiful slider there by Gilbert on the last pitch. 1-1 pitch from Gilbert. Big swing and a miss right down the middle. Four-seam fastball. High heater, 96 miles an hour by Logan. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the third inning, 1-0 Padres. And again, Logan, gave up the 1 home run, but hopefully that'll be the only run he gives up, or maybe 1 more. And at some point, the offense needs to step up. Unfortunately, with no Brendan Donovan in the lineup, that's going to hurt a little bit, but hopefully we'll be able to find a way. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. And down goes Jackson Merrill, and another punch out there for our boy, Logan Gilbert. Way to bring the electricity, Logan, after giving up the home run to Sheets. Logan Gilbert, 3 innings pitch, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 1 bad pitch for a home run. He's got 3 Ks, 35 pitches, 28 strikes with a 3.74 ERA. And then for Walker Buehler, 2 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs, 1 walk, 1 K. And he's already at 40 pitches, 26 strikes with a 4.93 ERA. So got to be able to rough up Buehler a little bit before the bullpen comes in. Let's see who's up next here for the Mariners in the bottom of the third inning. Next up for Seattle in the 9-hole, third baseman Leo Rivas. Batting second, leadoff hitter, shortstop J.P. Crawford. And batting third in the 2-hole, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. And I wouldn't mind seeing Leo or J.P. drop a bunt down. A little bit of small ball could never hurt. Trident's up. Let's go M's. 42 subs away from 24,100. Let's see where we're at on the likes here. We're at 41. $59 to 100. And shout out to our female viewership, as well as our viewership all over the globe. United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. We definitely have been gaining a lot of numbers. So if you are watching, from one of those locations that I mentioned, I salute you. I appreciate you. And again, we're going to be growing, every single day moving forward. 50th anniversary for the Seattle Mariners. Rick Riz on the radio, 40 plus years. He's retiring after this year. He's one of the legends of the game. And we dedicate this season on the channel and every Seattle Mariner fan to our guy, Rick Riz. We love you and we salute you. Let's go to the bottom of the third inning, 1-0 San Diego. First pitch to Leo Rivas is high and away, 1-0 count. Four-seam fastball, 92 miles an hour there by Buehler. One-0 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and no strikes to Leo Rivas. I mean, it would be nice if we could also get a few walks and get a few, guys maybe hit by pitches as long as they don't get hurt to kind of, give us a little extra, to be able to move guys over, since we have been, having some struggles, obviously, hitting in last game and recently. 2-0 pitch and another ball there to Leo Rivas. I like this. Pitch is high and away. 3 balls and no strikes to Leo Rivas. 3-0 pitch in there for a strike. 3 balls and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. Well, I think it's a number of things. Pitchers are getting better, and the Mariners ended up, being, the worst hitting team in baseball, before the Astro series, the first one. We were 188 as a team. So, to be able to climb out of, slumps, a lot of it is not just physical, it's mental. And we've been able to get out of that rut, for the most part. 3-2 pitch. And that ends up being strike 3. Down goes Rivas. And that is 1 away. And again, we've had injuries, there's been a lot of things, that can kind of incorporate why we, have struggled and whatnot. But, we're normally a second half team anyways, but again, some guys have, started to heat up. Luke Raley and Randy and Julio and Naylor. So it's not like everyone, is struggling, but, again, we're at our best when Donnie's in the lineup. And when Donnie is not leading off, we don't really play very well. JP does as good of a job as he can, as the fill-in guy, as the leadoff hitter. But, when Donnie is healthy, he's the better player. And, just imagine like having Ichiro as your leadoff hitter and then not having Ichiro, the impact of the Mariners, and we didn't really have to see not having Ichiro as the hitter because he didn't really get hurt, right? And he was able to dominate for many, many years. So 1-1 pitch, fouled off, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to JP Crawford. And then obviously after this season, we probably won't have JP or Luis Castillo on the team. And we'll have Colt Emerson and Cade Anderson and, a few other guys filling in those spots. And we'll be much better. Even though JP has been a pretty, big fan favorite, not the greatest hitter, a patient hitter that can take walks, but not really the greatest hitter. And normally defense was his strength, but his defense has not been very good this season. And same thing with Julio. He's definitely kind of regressed on his defense this year. Normally, he's lights out in the no-fly zone, but he's overran like 4 or 5 balls that have equated to, RBIs and runs and L's that we've taken because of it. So 1-2 pitch, and that is strike 3 looking on JP, and that is 2 away. Down goes JP Crawford. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. We could really use a solo dinger from Julio here. Come on, J-Rod. But also looking at the American League overall, the American League is terrible, right? I mean, it's like you got only 2 or 3 teams out of 15 that are above 500. I've never seen that before. And I've been watching baseball since the mid-'80s, since like 85. So, the National League typically has about 8 teams above 500 out of 15, like half. And I've never seen that either. So, again, it's kind of just a weird year, where you have a lot of teams, Padres, Dodgers, Braves, and everyone in the National League Central. Cubs and Cardinals, Reds, Pirates, all of those teams, Brewers, right? And then obviously you got the Tampa Bay Rays and the Yankees and the Guardians, and then you got the Athletics and Mariners getting closer, but it is what it is. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Buehler to Rodriguez. 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Buehler to Julio. Well, honestly, if Brandon Donovan is playing every day and he's healthy, and Cal is, healthy every day and playing, and he's not struggling, we don't necessarily need another bat. We just need the bats that we do have to be healthy. Obviously we could always use another hitter, like another good right-handed hitter other than, Rev Snyder or Joe. So if we're going to do splits with Rayleigh and Canzone, we actually can feel confident on a guy coming in. But at least we're going to get Victor Robles back, and maybe that'll give us a little flash, for offense and defense. But, we don't really know how he'll look when he first comes back. 2-2 pitch, high and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. 3-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. And also the patience of our players. We only have a couple patient hitters, that are willing to grind out long at bats and take a walk. And obviously, if you have a lot of pressure on you, again, sometimes these players are going to be in their own heads and be a little overly aggressive, and sometimes that ends up backfiring. But pitchers are definitely dominating the game, and lack of patience, in the box is part of it too. And baseball is fucking hard. It's not like any of us, could go out there and do what they do. And you got to think, if you can bat and hit 3 times out of 10, you can be a multimillionaire, right? But if you only hit 2 times out of 10, you might be in the minor leagues. And then if you hit 1 out of 10, you might not even be playing baseball. So it's not like guys are going 5 out of 10 and they're batting 500 for a whole season, or going 7 out of 10 and batting 700. So, I mean, it really does show you how difficult, hitting a baseball is, pitching accurately, and also fielding a baseball. It's definitely one of the hardest things in sports. And, hopefully we'll be able to get a nice groove going sooner than later. End of the third inning, 1-0 San Diego. And we had more injuries this year than we did last year. Obviously, we know we had Kirby out for the first 2 to 3 months, but then we had Logan Evans and Hancock kind of filling in. And then Gilbert pitched for a little bit, and then he got hurt for about a month and a half. And then we had the Brian Wu injury at the end of the year, but we didn't really have as many significant injuries to start off the year this year compared to last year. This year, we've been beat up a hell of a lot more, not only with starting pitching, with the bullpen, as well as, really key players like, Donnie and Cal, and then not even having access to Victor Robles. No Gabe Spire, no Matt Brash. That's not ideal, on top of Castillo shitting the bed and Mooney not looking good either. So there's been a number of reasons why we haven't been able to win as much as we should. Let's go to the top of the fourth inning and see who's up next here for the Padres. Next up for the Padres, 0 for 1 with a K, second baseman Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting second, 0 for 1, DHing in the 3-hole, Manny Machado. And batting third, 1 for 1 with a home run, Gavin Sheets. Trident's up. Let's go M's. $42 subs away from 24,100. Got a pitcher's duel here so far. Now we got Tatis in the box. Little line drive right to JP. And that is 1 away. All right, we're at 52 likes, 48 more to get to 100. We got 162 in the room. We can get 48 people out of 162. We'll be at our goal. And a nice line drive there by Fernando Tatis Jr. right to JP Crawford on the first pitch from Logan Gilbert, and that is 1 away. Next up, 0 for 1 in the 3-hole, DHing today, Manny Machado. Gilbert on the mound, Machado in the box. First pitch, slider low and at the knees, 85 miles an hour by Logan, 1-0 count. Yeah, you don't see a lot of hitters, above 300 anymore, AZ. You're right. Again, it's definitely become a pitcher's game, and again, in certain eras, there was obviously the steroid era. So obviously we know that had something to do with it as well. But even in the era that we're in now, you don't really see a lot of guys, above 300. In the past, you normally would have maybe half of your fucking lineup above 300. Now, a lot of teams are happy to get 1 or 2 guys that are above 300, which is a kind of a crazy thing to say. But if you actually go down each team and look at batting averages, that's kind of the reality. I mean, unless you're like a super team like the Dodgers or one of these other really good teams, and even with some of the really, really good teams, sometimes they go through slumps as well. So 3-0 pitch, and that ends up being a 4-pitch walk to Manny Machado. Next up is Gavin Sheets. Armando in the building. What's good? Top of the fourth inning, 1-0 San Diego with a solo dinger by Gavin Sheets in the top of the second, but Logan has settled down for the most part. And again, it's kind of like with Vasquez yesterday. We had a pitcher's duel with Emerson Hancock, but we just couldn't, cash in on a couple of big opportunities with guys on base. And, we could have easily won that game or at least, put up a run. But, unfortunately, we ended up dropping the game and we haven't been able to figure out the Padres, kind of like how we treat the Astros. We have their number. San Diego has, had our number, obviously sweeping us in San Diego and then winning yesterday. So they got 4 wins in a row on us just this year. One 0 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and no strikes. from Gilbert to Sheets as he ended up having Pareda lose that challenge. 1-for-1 with a solo home run in the second for Gavin Sheets. Yeah, unfortunately, Joe, that's just what Dan is going to do. He does what every other manager does. He doesn't treat, those two players, like a JP Crawford, where it just doesn't matter, if it's a righty or a lefty. And, you would hope, that those are two of the better guys, in the lineup. And, it's like you can't be friends with everyone. Sometimes you actually have to make tough decisions, and I feel like Dan isn't very good at tough decisions. He just kind of goes through the motions, hopes people figure it out. And, sometimes pulls a guy too soon, leaves a guy in too long, makes the wrong substitution, but every once in a while he'll make the right move, but it just, definitely feels like with all this added pressure, being able to hit, taking out your best hitter or one of your best hitters in Luke Raley, again, if they're only going to do it for one guy and they're going to do it for Dom, then so be it. But don't do it for Dom and Luke, have Luke play every day. 3-2 pitch to Sheets, low and at the knees. And that's back-to-back walks here for Logan Gilbert. Not ideal. We're going to need a double play here. Sheets to first, Machado to second on back-to-back walks for Gilbert. And now we have in the 5-hole, shortstop 0-for-1 with a K, Xander Bogaerts. Come on, Logan. And then obviously not having, Cal Raleigh, catching in these games. We obviously are going to miss his bat, even though he was on a slump. But we're also going to miss, him being a mentor and that, second manager, on the field and being able to call a game, better than Garver and Pareda, and we're definitely going to miss that aspect. Even though he hasn't really been that good throwing anybody out from the knees, and really nobody has for the Mariners this season. Normally we're pretty damn good at, getting guys trying to steal, but a lot of the throws from Cal were wide right, and Garver and Pareda's throws are a little bit more on, but still not enough opportunities yet to make a difference. Top of the 4th inning, runners at first and second with 1 out, 1-0 San Diego. First pitch to Bogaerts in there for a strike. Good start there for Logan. 0-1 count. Daniel in the building, what's good? Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Got to get out of this jam. 0-1 pitch. Low and away. Splitter 80 miles an hour missing by Gilbert. 1 ball and 1 strike with runners at first and second with 1 out. Top of the 4th inning, 1-0 Padres. One pitch. Oh, steps off the mound. Takes a look at Machado. One pitch. Fouls it off Pareda and goes behind the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 1 out. Top of the 4th inning, 1-0 San Diego with a Gavin Sheets solo dinger in the second. Global broadcast here on Fox. It's not on Mariners TV, unfortunately. So, you get more of a global audience, but, we don't really do that well against this team. So I'm not really sure how good that is for us. And we also are on Sunday Night Baseball tomorrow. So the last thing that we need is to get swept twice by the same team. And we already got swept 3 games in a row by the Padres in San Diego. We can't afford for that to happen here. Injuries have definitely hurt us, as well as poor play. 1-2 pitch, high and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Bogaerts. Two pitch, hard hit ball, line drive right in front of Randy. And now we got bases loaded with 1 out. Come on, Logan. Next up in the 6th hole, third baseman Miguel Andujar. And he was one of the heroes yesterday. Little dribbler towards third base and foul. Oh, 1 pitch, big swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes to Miguel Andujar. Oh-2 pitch, low and away with that splitter, 81 miles an hour, 1 ball and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Andujar. One-two pitch. Check swing. Did he go? And he did not. Slider, 88 miles an hour, missing there by Logan. 2 balls and 2 strikes with bases loaded and 1 out. We desperately need a slow dribbler up the middle for a double play. We got to try to keep this game as close as possible, considering, no Brandon Donovan, no Cal Raleigh, and obviously Logan having a little bit of a meltdown here. 2-2 pitch. Tried to jam him, popped up and out of play behind the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Andujar. Gilbert on the mound. Miguel Andujar in the box. Come on, Logan. 2-2 pitch. Low and away. Kind of bounces into the dirt there in front of Johnny Pareda. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Miguel Andujar. Nick Castellanos on deck. Come on, Logan. You already gave up the home run. We definitely have a hard time hitting against this team. No Donnie, no Cal. I mean, the last thing that we need after losing 2-0 yesterday and a good, outing for Emerson Hancock, the bats did not do their job. And, even though we rallied late in the 8th and 9th, we still weren't able to come up with the runs that we needed. 3-2 pitch and a hard hit ball, deep left field, fading foul. Thank God that was not a grand slam. Because at this point, they hit a grand salami and we're down 5-0 in the 4th. Realistically, probably not coming back from that. Even though, we do realize all it takes is one pitcher to have a meltdown and you can come back. But, just based on, the momentum of this Padre team, they are tough to beat. Maybe the only benefit is we won't see Miller tonight. 3-2 pitch, little dribbler. Runner comes home, no attempt for the double play, and Leo gets the out at third. 2-0 Padres. And if Rivas tried to throw home to Pareda, I don't know if the throw would have been good enough. Realistically, he probably would have hit the runner in the back and everyone would have been safe. Or the throw would have been maybe wild and off. So at least Leo got the out. Not ideal, but could have been worse. And hard hit ball by Castellanos. And gone. Wow. And just like that, Nick Castellanos with a big 3-run bomb with Bogarts and Andujar on. And it's essentially like they just hit the grand slam. And just like that, 5-0 Padres. Come on, Logan. Unbelievable. And again, that's what happens when you end up having a player that's locked in and when you have a player that is not. 401 feet there on the first pitch right down the middle by Logan Gilbert to Nick Castellanos, who did not play yesterday. And with one swing, puts a big choke slam on the Mariners there. A stone cold stunner, a rock bottom. 5-0 Padres. Rough. Going to be very hard to come back in this game. Not impossible, but pretty damn close. First pitch in there to Laureano. Takes a strike looking low and at the knees. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and inside, curveball getting away from Gilbert. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gilbert to Laureano. And nothing is worse, when the pitcher isn't good and then you can't hit, or yesterday the pitcher was great in Hancock, but we couldn't hit. And then when we were able to, have a few opportunities, with bases loaded or runners in scoring position, we weren't able to cash in. And, sometimes teams just have your number, And I guess the way that we have the Astros number and we dominate them, the Padres are kind of the opposite. They dominate us. And, obviously if you go back to last season, we did okay, against the Padres. We actually kind of had their number, but this year it's all San Diego, unfortunately. 1-2 pitch, low and away. Splitter 82 miles an hour there by Gilbert. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Laureano. I mean, he did have 9 Ks on his last start, but again, it's not like, you can play that particular team, every single matchup, and again, when we play these really good teams, whether it be the Braves or the Dodgers or the Padres or the Yankees, Now it looks like Dan Wilson's trying to get ejected to fire the team up. Yeah, but we do got George Kirby on the mound tomorrow. So if you are going to be going to the game tomorrow, that would be the game that we have the best chance to win. And hopefully Donnie will be in the lineup there. So definitely looked like he went around. So ump is not giving us the calls when the runner is check swinging and actually going around, and that's the reason why Dan went out there. Almost got ejected, but got pulled back in time. 2-2 pitch. And a hard hit ball by Laureano and foul. And realistically, when we play these really good teams, sometimes we're only going to win 1 game, sometimes none. You shoot for 2 wins out of 3. Like when we played the Braves, we could have won 3 out of 3 if we didn't have a meltdown at the end, but we ended up winning 2 out of 3. But it really depends on who's pitching, in those 3 games. And if you end up having, pitchers that are kind of up and down, then it's going to be a little bit tougher. Top of the 4th inning, 5-0 Padres. And we got Sunday Night Baseball on tomorrow for the showcase game. And hopefully Kirby will be able to bring it. He's been our most trustworthy pitcher, throughout the year. So should be better than this, you would assume. Two pitch to Laureano. Fouls that one off. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the 4th inning, 5-0 Padres. Yeah. And for me, like I said, I'm used to the Mariners struggling. I've been a fan since the mid 80s. I went through a 20-year drought of no hope of making the playoffs and still watching, every game beginning to end. So I feel like maybe expectations were a little too high, after what happened last year, being one of the last 3 teams. And, especially for a lot of newer fans, just assuming that we're going to be as good as we were last year or better, and again, you can't ever account for injuries or poor play. And again, we've been hit with quite a few of those things. And again, we just have to hope that we can stay afloat. Not even being able to be at 500, but we've been floating right like beneath it. And again, a lot of teams in the American League stink right now besides the Rays and the Yankees. Everyone else is a couple games above at 500 or a couple games below or really below 500. So, even though it kind of stinks for us, if you actually look at our record compared to every other team in the American League, we're just fine, but again, it seems worse, when we go through these moments and we have games like this. Let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning and let's see if we can get on the board. We have to chip away now and just hope that we can find a way to get to 5 before this game is over. Next up for the Mariners in the 3-hole, first baseman Josh Naylor. Batting second, 0 for 1 left fielder Randy Arozarena. And batting third in the 5-hole, right fielder Luke Raley. But we don't do very well with left-handed pitching. We don't do very well with Donovan and Cal out of the lineup. When we have to bring in righties, it usually doesn't work for us. With Connor Joe, Mitch Garver, and Rob Refsnyder, taking Luke Raley and Dominic Canzone out of games is not ideal. And again, we're playing one of the best teams in baseball. 13-8 on the road, 26-18 at home, or overall, excuse me. So, and again, we should be a hell of a lot better than 12-12 at home, considering how good we were last year. But with injuries and poor play, sometimes that'll happen. Try to ends up. Let's go M's. 42 subs away from 24,100. And we gained another sub since our last commercial break. Appreciate you. 41 subs to go to 24,100. We're still looking for our first dono on our dono train for the Paisley Pup Vet Fund. Got to take her to the vet on Monday for an ear infection. So anything that we can get on the dono train will definitely be appreciated to help towards that. And we're at 64 likes. 36 to 100. And Dan Wilson's been ejected. So Dan Wilson was arguing a few of the check swing calls that we weren't getting, so he's ejected. 2-1 pitch, and Naylor ends up getting a nice base knock into right field to Nick Castellanos. There we go. And again, we got to be able to celebrate even the little things, the little wins. Nice job there by Josh. Manny Acta is now taking over as the manager. Next up is Randy Orosarena. First pitch by Randy, pops it up and out of play, 0-1 count. And maybe this will be the ejection that we need to kind of fire the team up a little bit. Obviously when we get an ejection out of our manager or we get into a fight, obviously, things usually end up, being a good spark for the team. But I'm not really sure if we can afford to have anyone suspended with all the injuries and poor play we've had lately. Vapor with a 25er. Thank you, man. I just took her to the, vet just recently, and that was like $450. And then now I'm going to have another couple $100 vet, bill. And usually it's not something that happens so close to each other. But again, she's never had an ear infection before, and she's got one, and I want to make sure I take care of her. Appreciate you. Vapor with a 25er, 75 to go to hit our goal. Thank you so much, man. Every dollar counts through Venmo, Cash App, or the Super Chat. 1-1 pitch, fouled off there by Randy. Slider 87 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Randy Orosarena. 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Walker Buehler to Randy Orosarena. Yeah, we not only need Cal back, but we need Donovan to be the leadoff hitter and to be healthy. Donovan is really, the key piece. Not to say Cal isn't, because I love to see Cal, coach up the players and, be that good defensive catcher, and then hope that when that bat, gets hot, it helps us win. But, not having Donnie at third and having Leo play, and we know how much better of a hitter Donnie is. It's like Leo can't hit, but he can defend. But Donnie can defend and he can hit, and sometimes he can even get 3-4 hits in a game, something that Leo will never do. So, 3-2 pitch, and that ends up being high and away, and that will be a walk there to Randy Orosarena. Next up is Luke Raley. MLB rank and barrel percentage, 24% third. Hard hit rate, 6, 58%. Slugging percentage, 584, which is 9th. 10 home runs leads the team. So again, if that's the case, why is Luke Raley being substituted out, when we end up having a right-handed pitcher, and going to a left? Again, no matter what the scenario is, we should have Luke Raley be playing every day. And honestly, I think Dominic Canzone, no disrespect to Rob Refsnyder or, Connor Joe, but again, Dominic Canzone and Luke Raley playing every day gives us the best chance, to win games. And when you end up only giving those guys 2 at-bats, and then you give 2 at-bats to Joe and Refsnyder, sometimes, they'll hit a home run or get an RBI, but most of the time, they're both going to go 0 for 2. And then, and you never know what you could have got out of Raley and Canzone late in the game or early in the game, depending on, a different player started. So hopefully at some point, Dan will realize that. And, again, you can't make everyone happy on the team. And again, every manager kind of does that routine where once a pitcher goes from a lefty to a righty, righty to a lefty, you usually have 1 or 2 guys you substitute. But do you really want to substitute the best hitter on the team in Luke Raley? Absolutely not. It's one thing to do it for Dominic Canzone because he's streaky, but Luke Raley has shown the consistency that he deserves to, play every game like JP. Like, why don't they move JP out, but also it depends on if they actually have someone behind you that can play that position. So that has something to do with it as well. And we don't have Colt Emerson called up yet. So 1 ball and 1 strike to Luke Raley. 1-1 pitch. Low and at the knees with the changeup, 89 miles an hour by Walker Buehler. 2 balls and 1 strike with runners at first and second and no outs. Bottom of the 4th inning, 5-0 Padres. And it would be great if we could end up, putting up a run or 2 this inning. Two 1 pitch and a little dribbler towards first. And we get a fielder's choice on Randy there. And that is 1 away. Raley is first. Raley is safe at first, and Naylor moves to third. Now we got runners on the corners at first and third, and hopefully we'll be able to get something cooking here for Cole Young. Let's go, Cole. 0 for 1 with a line out in the second. 326 average, 2 homers, and 23 ribbies with runners in scoring position. Let's go, Cole. I mean, I wouldn't mind if Cade Anderson and Colt Emerson got called up, even though, Cade's got still a little ways to go, but I still think that he would be better than some of the guys that we have on the team right now in the pen, and maybe even a starter like Castillo, even though he might be moving to the pen soon. And Colt Emerson, I think, is, and a hard hit ball there by Cole, and it drops in front of Castellanos. Naylor jogs in from third, and now we're on the board. There we go. 5-1 Padres. Here we go, Seattle. Nice job there by Cole Clutch Young with a big RBI in the right. Naylor scoring there from third. And just like that, now we're in business. 5-1 Padres. Next up is Dominic Canzone. Let's see if we can get another RBI or unexpected home run from Dom to make this a little bit closer of a game. First pitch is low and away. Change up, 89 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Time is called by Buehler. Bottom of the 4th inning, 5-1 San Diego. Buehler on the mound, Canzone in the box. Yeah, I definitely think it did help, and we don't normally see Dan show emotion, but again, he did have a reason why, not just to try to fire up the team. They did not really give us, a few calls on the check swings. And, again, when you're getting blasted 5-0, sometimes, when you feel like you're being done dirty on the calls on top of being beat up 5-0, sometimes that does equate to an ejection. Little dribbler there, throw to first, and not in time. We got Luke Raley now moving to third. And now we got runners at first and third with 2 outs. Fielder's choice there. Cole Young out at second. And Raley goes to third. Let's see if we can get one more RBI out of this inning. This would be huge. And we don't really expect a whole lot out of Johnny Pereda and Leo Rivas, but hopefully these guys will be able to do something. Can't afford for, both those guys go to 0 for 4 or 0 for 5. First pitch fouled off by Pareda into right field, out of play, 0-1 count. Bottom of the fourth inning, 5-1 Padres. We got runners on the corners at first and third. And I mean, if we can just get like an RBI single out of Pareda to make it 5-2, this would be definitely a great inning for us, considering how things went up to this point. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Buehler to Pareda. I mean, unless he gets walked or hit by a pitch and doesn't get hurt. One pitch to Pareda. High and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Buehler to Pareda. Thank you so much, man. Two 2-1 pitch, low and away. 3 balls and 1 strike to Johnny Pareda. 3-1 pitch, in there for a strike down the middle. And Vapor with another $50 dono there for the Paisley Pup Vet Fund. Thank you so much, man. And again, I know it's going to probably cost me like $150 to $200, so I appreciate any type of help that we can get here. So Vapor has donated $75 by himself so far. Appreciate you, and everything that we got yesterday, today, and tomorrow will go towards the Vet Fund on Monday, where I have an appointment for her at 3 o'clock. The White Sox game doesn't start until 6:40, so I'll be back in time. And, obviously moving forward, starting Monday, you'll probably see Paisley with a cone on her head on the streams for at least a week, maybe longer, depending on, the outcome from the vet. Pitch fouled off, high and away with that cutter by Buehler. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with runners on the corners at first and third with 2 outs. 5-1 Padres. So at least we got on the board finally. And it would be great if we could get another run here before this inning ends, if possible. 3-2 pitch. Check swing. And it goes back to the T-Mobile bricks. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Johnny Pareda. And shout out to Vapor. $75 on the dono train. 25 more to go. We'll see if we can get anyone else to be able to help out with the Paisley Pup Vet Fund for Monday. Appreciate you, Vapor. You're the true MVP, my guy. 3-2 pitch. And that is strike 3 looking. Brutal. Down goes Johnny. And that is the end of the 4th inning, but at least we got on the board. We got to be as positive as possible. And after the Dan Wilson ejection, we get on the board, and now we're down 5-1. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. End of the 4th inning, 5-1 San Diego. 41 subs to go to 24,100. We're at 75 on the dono train. 25 to go for our first goal. And let's see where we're at on the likes as we transition to the top of the 5th inning. Sean for a 20 for the Paisley Pup Fund. Thank you so much, man. Every dollar counts. I'm going to refresh everything here real quick. Give me 1 sec. Appreciate you, Sean. Appreciate you, Vapor. All right, we're at 77 on the likes. Duran pops up into shallow territory. And Naylor gets the grab in foul territory, and that is one away. All right, we're at 77 likes, 23 to 100. And Rodolfo Duran flies out in shallow territory, in foul territory towards Naylor on the netting, and that is one away. Next up is Jackson Merrill. Oh, 1 pitch. Fouls that one off towards third base. No balls and 2 strikes to Jackson Merrill. Shout out to Vapor. Shout out to Vapor, as well as Sean. Thank you so much. You know, anytime you end up having a soul dog, it definitely, people don't understand unless you end up having it happen to yourself, and it definitely changes your life for the better. 0-2 pitch, low and away, splitter, 80 miles an hour, missing badly there by Logan. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 5th inning, 5-1 Padres. But, the 2 most important things in my life, number 1 is Paisley, and number 2 is this channel. So I appreciate every single one of you. Little dribbler up the middle. Cole Young is there. Throw to Naylor, and that is 2 away. 2 up and 2 down here for the Mariners and their defense. Nice job, Cole. Next up is Fernando Tatis Jr. First pitch, popped up, and should be a routine play here for the Mariners. And that is out number 3. Nice job there by J.P. Crawford. And let's see if we can add on another run or 2 and, kind of scratch and claw our way back into this game. Next up for the Mariners here in the bottom of the 5th inning, in the 9-hole, third baseman, 0 for 1 with a K, Leo Rivas. Drop a bunt down. Do something different. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a K, shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Same thing with you. Drop a bunt down. Do something a little different. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Try dance up. Let's go M's. We just have to chip away. 41 subs to go to 24,100. We're at 95 on the Dono train. 5 more to hit our first goal for the Paisley Pup Vet Fund for her vet visit on Monday. And we are at 83 likes. 17 more to get to 100. Shout out to Vapor and Sean for being the MVPs so far. Appreciate you. Global broadcast here on Fox. Tomorrow we're going to be on Sunday Night Baseball for the last game of the evening. Tough when we end up getting showcased and we're playing one of the best teams in baseball and we're not playing our best baseball. But again, hopefully we can find a miracle and we can have a little bit of a meltdown by the Padres. And we won't be seeing Mason Miller today, but again, we have to get a little bit closer. Obviously we have to try to get to 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. We're only at 1 so far, and hopefully we'll be able to plug away. Dan Wilson got ejected early in the game, so obviously that kind of sparked the team. And just a quick recap in the game, Gavin Sheets, homer to right center in the second inning, 382 feet, making it 1-0. And then Miguel Andujar grounded into a fielder's choice to third. Machado scored, making it 2-0 in the fourth. Nick Castellanos, first pitch, hit a home run. 3-run blast, making it 5-0. And then we had Cole Young coming up with a single to right, Naylor scoring, making it 5-1. So that's the quick breakdown here. First pitch into Leo Rivas is a strike looking high and away, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away, changeup 87 miles an hour by Buehler. 1 ball and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. One pitch from Buehler. High and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. Walker Buehler on the mound. Leo Rivas in the box. 2-1 pitch. Gets the corner for a strike. 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour by Buehler. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Leo Rivas. 2-2 pitch. Hard hit ball by Leo, but it's a line drive right to right field. Castellanos is there, and that is 1 away. Next up is J.P. Crawford. First pitch to Crawford, high and away from Walker Buehler. 1-0 count. Buehler on the mound. J.P. in the box. Come on, J.P. 1-0 pitch. Right down the middle for a strike. Cutter, 88 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike to J.P. Crawford. Trident's up. Let's go, Elms. 1-1 pitch, hard hit ball, deep right field, back, and gone. That's what I'm talking about. J.P. Crawford. You know, for all of the individuals that complain about J.P., you know, again, the defense obviously has taken a step back, and he is a patient hitter, not the greatest hitter, but every once in a while he'll help you try to win a game with a big home run or RBI. Nice job there by J.P. Crawford. Trident's up. Let's go, JP. Let's go. Chip away. That's all we got to do. Chip away. One-0 pitch. Julio pops it up. And should be a routine play there, and that is 2 away. Down goes Julio after we saw J.P. Crawford with a big solo dinger. And now we feel a little bit better. You know, 5-2 is a hell of a lot better than 5-0. So great job there by J.P. Crawford. Now let's see if Josh Naylor can continue this inning and we can get on a rally with 2 outs. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. First pitch fouled off behind the plate with the knuckle curve by Buehler. 0-1 count. Let's go. Shout out to our female viewership. Shout out to our viewership in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees with the knuckle curve. Off speed, 78 miles an hour by Buehler. 1 ball and 1 strike to Josh Naylor. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. One pitch, hard hit ball in the gap, and it falls in between third base or left field and center field. And another base knock here for Josh Naylor, having a great day today. Naylor 2 for 3 with a run. Let's go. Next up is Randy Arozarena. Come on, Randy. Buehler on the mound. Randy in the box. And Buehler coming into the game, 2-2 record with a 5.20 ERA. So you kind of felt like, there could be a little bit of wiggle room that we should be able to get a few. Now, we didn't expect, Castellanos to hit a 3-run, bomb on top of, giving up Gavin Sheets with a solo dinger early. It's, kind of uneventful. If we would have given up 3, we would be in perfect position, only down a run. But when you're down 5, definitely makes it challenging. 1-0 pitch. And we got a challenge here by Randy. No balls and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. 0-1 pitch. And Randy pops it up and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Hawks in the building. What's good? Love in the building. What's good? 0-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Randy. Buehler ends up getting out of a little bit of that jam there. But again, at least we were able to get another run on the board. And again, we know J.P. Crawford, his defense has gone a little bit backwards. And again, we expect a lot from a guy like JP, and especially him trying to fill in the shoes of Donnie as a leadoff hitter. And again, even though his defense hasn't been great, normally it is, but this year, him and Julio have kind of taken a step back. Cole Young has been phenomenal on defense. There's no doubt about that. But JP still, even though he's not the greatest hitter, he's patient, one of the most patient hitters that can draw walks. And every once in a while, he'll homer in, early in games or late in games, or give you a big clutch RBI in the beginning or late. And he has actually helped us win a few games already, believe it or not. So, I know we're all waiting for Colt Emerson. We all love Colt, but again, nice job there by JP. Getting that home run to inch us a little bit closer against this dominant San Diego Padre team. End of the 5th inning, 5-2 Padres, and hopefully they don't score any more the rest of the game. That'll be a big if. Next up for the Padres in the top of the 6th, 0-for-1 with a run and a base on ball, DHing Manny Machado. Batting second, 1-for-1 with a run, RBI, base on ball, first baseman with a homer in the 2nd inning, Gavin Sheets. And batting third, 1-for-2 with a run and a K. In the 5-hole, shortstop Xander Bogaerts. Trident up. Let's go, M's. 41 subs to go to 24,100. We're at 95 on the Dono train for the Paisley Pup Vet Fund. I have to take her to the vet on Monday for an ear infection. She's never had one before, so not ideal, because I just took her to the vet a few weeks ago and it was like $450. So, anytime that, you can end up getting a little help, it's greatly appreciated. Looks like we're at 90 on the likes, 10 more to 100. All right, 10 more likes to get to 100. We got 175 in the room. And Patrick with a 12er. Thank you so much, man. Patrick with a 12er. Thank you so much. We're at 107 on the Dono train now for the Paisley Pup Vet Fund. Thank you so much. Mike in the building. What's good? One-0 pitch. Popped up and behind the plate by Manny Machado. First pitch was high and away with a four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour by Gilbert, who has not looked good today. And again, it's just kind of one of these things, like when we have a pitcher look good, like Hancock yesterday, we can't hit. And then now, the pitcher has a meltdown in Gilbert, but then now the bats are starting to come alive, but will it be enough to come back? We'll find out. And again, Gilbert did have 9 Ks in his last start, but again, Gilbert still hasn't been the Gilbert that we all have loved and known. He's kind of, regressed like JP and Julio's defense this year. He's gone backwards. Now Hancock has gone forwards. So at least we got one guy, going in one direction. as Rivas gets the pop up there on Machado, and that is 1 away. But again, Castillo's not good. Gilbert, not really trustworthy yet. I like what Miller brought, but it's still early to say how good he'll be for the rest of the year. And, Wu and Kirby and Hancock have been pretty damn good. It's just, unfortunately, we haven't got a lot of run support for Hancock, and that definitely hurts, the chances of him getting dubs when we can't hit for him. It's just a damn shame. Next up is Gavin Sheets. First pitch in there to Sheets with the four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour by Gilbert. High and inside, 1-0-1 count. Top of the 6th inning, nobody on with 1 out, 5-2 Padre lead, and we just have to chip away. We did get a run in the 4th and a run in the 5th, though, so we're trending in the right direction. We just have to try to score, every inning the rest of the way. Unless we have that monster inning, with a meltdown by one of their pitchers where we potentially could put up 1-5 in a single half inning, which could happen. No Mason Miller today. 1-1 pitch. Low and at the knees. Change up 87 miles an hour. 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 6th inning. 5-2 Padres. Two-one pitch, dribbler towards first base and foul. Come on, Mariner Moose, we need you. 2-2 pitch to Sheets. Big swing and a miss. And a nice splitter there by Logan Gilbert. And that's the 5th strikeout there for Logan Gilbert. 5.2 innings pitched, 3 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, 83 pitches, 56 strikes. So he's getting close to the end, and Buehler hit 101, so we won't see Buehler for the rest of the game. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Little dribbler here by Bogarts. Rivas, throw to first, and that is out number 3. Yeah, Buehler is done, Joe. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 6th inning and see if we can get another run or two and inch our way, claw our way back into this game. We're slowly but surely doing that. Next up, 1 for 2. Right fielder in the 5-hole, Luke Raley, and hopefully they don't bring in a lefty. And if they do, then we're not going to see Luke Raley or Dominic Canzone for the rest of the game, and that's a fucking problem. Batting second, 1 for 2 with an RBI, second baseman Cole Young. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a walk, DHing in the 7-hole, the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. And it always feels, like when we're about to rally and then the other team, strategically puts in, a left-handed pitcher, even if he ends up being, terrible, 0-5 with an ERA of 11, it just seems like, it doesn't work out for us, because we have a hard time hitting left-handed pitching on top of if you take out Raley and Canzone and you bring in Ref Snyder and Joe, more times than not, that shit doesn't work out. So hopefully they don't bring in a fucking lefty like Morihon, but let's see what they decide to do here. It looks like they're bringing in Peralta. And Wandy Peralta is a lefty. Son of a bitch. And teams are doing this to us left and right, and that's another reason why that we're, losing a lot of games too. And they always do it at the time where we have Raley and Canzone up. I can't tell you how many times, they strategically have done this to us. So Wandy Peralta, the lefty, is coming in. Hopefully Dan Wilson, well, he's ejected, so Dan can't make the decision, but hopefully Manny Acta goes against the norm, and we don't substitute Luke Raley or Dominic Canzone here. I mean, just keep him in. I don't care if it's a lefty or righty, just keep him in. And luckily, Dan is ejected, and Luke Raley is still in. Thank God. And the last thing that we need to see is fucking Rob Refsnyder or Connor Joe, especially when we have Rivas and Pareda already in the lineup, more than likely giving us nothing. And I would rather get nothing out of Raley and Canzone than Joe or Refsnyder. I mean, we already have a couple duds in the lineup, so. First pitch is fouled off behind the plate. 0-1 count. Come on, Luke. We need a nuke. 0-1 pitch. Low and at the knees with a slider. 88 miles an hour there by Wandy Peralta. 1 ball and 1 strike to Luke Raley. One pitch, little dribbler. Run, Luke, run! Throw to first. Ooh, that was close, but just in time with the toe tap on the bag. Great hustle there by Luke Raley. One thing I really appreciate about his game, always hustling, no matter what. And, he was brought up the right way. And that is 1 away. But I'd rather have an out like that from Luke Raley than anything from Joe or Rob Refsnyder. Next up in the 6th hole, second baseman Cole Young. Come on, Cole. On deck is Dominic Canzone. I mean, unless we get Pareda and Rivas to start bunting or something, or if they can start getting walked, but you're not usually going to get a whole lot of production out of those two guys. First pitch fouled off there by Cole Young. Sinker, 95 miles an hour, 0-1 count. And hopefully we can get at least a minimum of 1 run to this inning, preferably 2 or more, but, beggars can't be choosers. We just have to chip away. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes from Wandy Peralta, the lefty, to Cole Young. Peralta on the mound, Cole Young in the box. Yeah, Raley definitely has got the wheels for being a bigger guy, but that's just pure effort. 0-2 pitch, and big swing and a miss. Down goes Cole, and that is 2 away. Next up is the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. Come on, Dom. We could really use a solo dinger here. Come on, Dom. First pitch is low and away from Wandy Peralta, 1-0 count. Slider, 89 miles an hour. Bottom of the 6th inning, Padres up by 3, 5-2, but still time for us to come back if they have a meltdown or two with their bullpen. And we have no Mason Miller tonight since he pitched yesterday. So, we have a chance. I know it's a bleak chance, especially when we were down 5-0, but now it's 5-2. So, got to have a little bit of that blind faith being a Mariner fan. 2-0 pitch, takes a strike looking low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Dominic Canzone. Come on, Dom. 2-1 pitch, little dribbler up the middle, throw to first, and that is out number 3. 3 up and 3 down. End of the 6th inning, 5-2 San Diego. Let's go to the top of the 7th inning and see who's up next here for the Padres. Next up for the Padres, 0 for 2 with a run and an RBI. In the 6th hole, third baseman Miguel Andujar. Batting second in the 7th hole, right fielder 1 for 2 with a run, 3 RBIs with a 3-run jack, Nick Castellanos. And every time we play against Nick, he seems like he always beats us up. And he doesn't even play every day. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K, left fielder Ramon Laureano. Trident's up, let's go M's. And Gilbert's had 84 pitches, so you have to assume that this will be the last inning that he's in, or they might replace him for someone else. We'll see. $41 subs to go to 24,100. Looks like we gained 3 more since the last commercial break. Thank you so much. 38 subs to go to 24,100. We're at 107 on the dono train. 93 to go to hit our secondary goal for the Paisley Pup Vet Fund. Got to take her to the vet on Monday for an ear infection. So first time she's ever had one, and I just took her to the vet a few weeks ago. So definitely is hurting a little bit, and any kind of support we can get would be greatly appreciated. And we're at 102 likes. 98 to 200. Shout out to all our female viewership. Shout out to everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. Appreciate you. Shout out to Vapor with a 25er and a 50. Sean with a 20 for the Paisley Pup Fund, and Patrick with the 12er. Thank you so much. And anytime you end up having a soul pup, again, my heart always hurts a little bit when she ends up having an issue. So, she's 4.5. She'll be 5 in late summer in August. And again, every single day that I've been able to have her in my life has been some of the best days of my life, no doubt. Let's go to the top of the 7th inning, down by 3 runs, and let's see if Logan can finish here in the 7th. First pitch to Andujar, popped up and out of play. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour by Gilbert. Global broadcast here on Fox, and we're going to have a global broadcast on Sunday Night Baseball on NBC tomorrow. It'll be NBC and Peacock, but since the Spurs eliminated the T-Wolves, they don't have to have it exclusively on Peacock. So if you do have NBC, you will be able to watch the game tomorrow. 0-1 pitch, low and away. Curveball, 80 miles an hour there by Gilbert. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gilbert to Andujar. One pitch, popped up and out of play. One-two pitch, low and at the knees. Splitter, 81 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Andujar. Rivas, throw to first, got him! Wow, just in time. What a play. You know damn well the Lakers would have not won the finals if Luka didn't get injured. There's no way in the same level, as the Spurs or the Thunder. And obviously we'll see what happens with the Pistons and the Cavs. No chance in hell. First pitch in there for a strike, 0-1 count. Top of the 7th inning, 5-2 San Diego. Oh, 1 pitch to Castellanos. High and inside. Splitter, 81 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gilbert to Castellanos. One pitch. Fouled off, out of play. Curveball, 80 miles an hour there by Gilbert. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 7th inning, 5-2 San Diego. One-two pitch. Low and at the knees with the changeup, 81 miles an hour there by Gilbert. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Nick Castellanos. Two-two pitch. And a little dribbler up the middle to Logan. Throw to first. And that is 2 away. Down goes Castellanos on that ground ball. Next up in the 8-hole, left fielder, 0 for 2 with a K, Ramon Laureano. First pitch to Laureano, low and away, four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour there by Gilbert, 1-0 count. Top of the 7th inning, 5-2 San Diego, with nobody on, with 2 outs. Let's see if Logan can finish here. 1-0 pitch, popped up, shallow center field, off the wall, grab it. And Rayleigh gets the ball, and it ended up going a little bit deeper than anticipated over Julio's head. And that ends up being a stand-up double there from Ramon Laureano. Next up in the 9-hole, catcher Rodolfo Duran. And Gilbert's pitch count is at 96, so. And they got Nick Davila in the bullpen warming up. First pitch to Duran, back, gone. Unbelievable. Just when we were starting to kind of come back in this game, that was kind of the nail in the coffin. Duran homers to left center, the 9-hole hitter, the backup to the backup catcher, 386 feet, Ramon Laureano on board. And just like that, in one swing, Gilbert gives up his 3rd home run of the game, and it's going to be really hard now to come back. You know, when you're down by 3, you have a little bit of hope. When you get down by 5 again, yikes. You know, after Logan Gilbert had 9 Ks in his last start, getting roughed up by this very good Padre team for 3 different home runs by 3 different players. Castellanos, Duran, and Gavin Sheets. Brutal. Nice home run there by Rodolfo Duran, bringing a little electricity for the Padre fan base. Next up, 0 for 3 with a K, center fielder Jackson Merrill. It's always one thing or another with us, right? It's like we can pitch, but we can't hit. That was yesterday, you know, and then now the hitting is slightly better, but then the pitching is a hell of a lot worse. You know, defense has been pretty good, you know, and then we don't really know what our bullpen is going to look like because they're not in yet, you know, but when you're down 5-0, it stinks, right? But then you have to have that blind faith that you're going to get a few, and we did, right? We got it to 5-2. We started to feel a little bit better after that JP Crawford home run, but you expect, you know, hopefully not to give up any more the rest of the way. But, you know, Logan Gilbert at the very, you know, end of his run, giving up another, you know, 2-run jack. It's just unexcusable. And again, Logan is not trustworthy. He might not be as bad as Luis Castillo, but pretty fucking close. You know, Castillo is by far the worst pitcher, you know, as far as a starter, and Gilbert is right behind him, you know, and then obviously, thankfully, you know, George Kirby is good. You know, Wu and Hancock are normally good, even though they don't get the run support all the time. And Bryce Miller looked good, you know, in his first start, but yikes. Top of the 7th inning, 7-2 San Diego. You know, and again, I was really hoping he was going to feed off that 9K performance on his last start, but, you know, again, we probably should have had Brian Wu do the season opener and be the, you know, first pitcher. But they decided to give Logan Gilbert that honor because he, you know, had that honor the previous year, you know. But again, who was the best pitcher last year? It was Wu. But yeah, I know Wu got hurt at the end of the year, you know. But again, Wu should have been probably the season opener starter, and they had Gilbert, and he got roughed up in his first 2 starts and looked terrible. And he's gotten a little bit better in between. But then today, kind of going back to those bad ways and giving up 3 jacks and, you know, that's really hard to win when you're going against a team as good as the Padres. All right, Nick Davila is coming in now. First pitch in there for a strike looking, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch fouled off there by Jackson Merrill. Slider 87 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes from Nick Davila to Jackson Merrill. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Davila to Merrill. And again, this shows you, when we don't have Brandon Donovan and Cal Raleigh in the lineup, it's really hard to win. And, it's one thing if Cal is there, but again, Donnie is really the heart and soul, of the lineup to start it off for us. And there is out number 3. Nice job there by Nick Davila cleaning up Gilbert's mess. But again, when you give up home runs to the 7-hole and the 9-hole, not ideal. And now we just have to pray that we can get a meltdown in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and we can just chip away. 2 runs in the 7th, 2 runs in the 8th, and 1 in the 9th. That's a big ask, especially when you got a couple players in the lineup that can't really hit in Pareda and Rivas. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, catcher Johnny Pareda. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a K, third baseman Leo Rivas. And batting third, 1 for 3 with a run, RBI and a K, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Trident's up. Let's go M's. All right, 38 subs to go. Now 37. Thank you so much. 37 subs to go to 24,100. We're at 107 on the Dono train. 93 to go for the Paisley Pup Vet Fund for Monday. And we're at 107 on the likes. 93 to 200. $107 likes and 107 on the Dono train. Oh, man, I wish Brash and Spire were healthy. I wish Robles and Cal were healthy. I wish Donnie was playing every day, so we don't have to worry about, anybody at leadoff besides him. And, it's like on paper, it's like we got all the tools, to be one of the top teams with the Yankees and the Rays. But again, poor hitting, injuries, poor pitching, poor bullpen, and again, we're still, top 10 in a lot of different categories, but again, and also with the splits and whatnot, it's just, a number of things that are kind of going wrong for us. And now they're making a lot of mass substitution now. Jason Adam is coming in. All right, Jason Adam comes in. We get a righty on the mound, and let's see if we can take advantage of him. He's got kind of a weird release. Kind of has a hesitation and pause before he throws the ball, and definitely fools a lot of hitters. But hopefully the Mariner hitters will be able to find a way. And again, Pareda, Rivas, Crawford are the next 3. And again, you don't really expect anything out of Johnny or Leo. And hopefully Brendan Donovan will be in the lineup tomorrow. We're going to need him. Sung Moon Song is coming in at second base. So we got a few substitutions for the Padres as well. And Tatis is in right field now. Yeah, we are lucky. We are extremely lucky, that everyone in the American League stinks right now besides the Rays and the Yankees and the Guardians, a couple games above 500. Popped up into left field. Ramon Laureano is there. Down goes Pareda. And it kind of makes you wonder, we probably should have hung on to Harry Ford instead of trading him for Jose Ferrer. Because if we have Harry Ford, that's going to be better than Garver and Pareda, or Kisner, even though we don't have him anymore. But, having Harry Ford on the team right now, they didn't expect Cal to get injured, but you always have to expect injuries. I definitely miss Ben Williamson and Harry Ford, and there's no doubt about that. Next up is Leo Rivas. But even with all the things going wrong for us, there's still going to be a time and a place where guys do get healthy, where we are playing better baseball. And then once we get past the All-Star break, we should really start to heat up like we normally do. 0-1 pitch, low and away, change up 86 miles an hour, 1 ball and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. Yeah, but as bad as things are, look at our record compared to everyone else in the American League. It's not like we're in last place, in the AL West, and it's not like we're one of the worst teams in the American League. Yeah, it sucks not being able to get above 500 when we get so close so often, but again, it's like there's only 2 good teams out of 15. So we have to be extremely lucky that with everything that's happening to the Mariners this year, luckily there's not 8 teams above 500. Like imagine if the Mariners were in the National League, we'd be fucking screwed. We would still be able to bounce back after the All-Star break, but, luckily we're not in the National League this year. Throw to first off that dribbler, and down goes Leo, and that is 2 away. We'll bring up Colt Emerson, bring up Cade Anderson, and that could definitely help us immediately. And send Castillo into the pen. Next up is J.P. Crawford. J.P. Crawford with a solo dinger in his last at-bat. First pitch from Jason Adam to Crawford. Sweeper, high and away. 1-0 count. One-0 pitch. Fouled off into left field, out of play. Four-seam fastball, 92 miles an hour there by Jason Adam. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and 2 outs. Bottom of the 7th inning, 7-2 San Diego. One pitch, big swing and a miss. Slider, 84 miles an hour, low and into the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Bottom of the 7th, 7-2 Padres. And it shows you how important Cal and Donovan are to this team. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Adam to Crawford. Two pitch from Adam. Big swing and a miss. Down goes JP. And that is out number 3. All right, let's go to the top of the 8th and see who's up next here for San Diego. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up, 0 for 4 with 2 Ks, center fielder Jackson Merrill. Batting second, 0 for 3 with a K, second baseman Fernando Tatis Jr. He's now in right field. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a run and a base on ball, DHing Manny Machado. $38 subs to go to 24,100. We're at 107 on the Dono train, 93 to go. The Paisley Pup Vet Fund for Monday. And we're at 112 likes. and 88 more to get to 200. Trident's up. Let's go M's. You got to be mentally strong to be a fan of this team. It's not always easy, but again, when the wins, come, it ends up, being a little bit more meaningful rather than being like a bandwagon fan of a team that wins all the time. You got to go through the pain and the misery to be able to go through the joy, and the excitement. So there's going to be a lot of peaks and valleys, but I still think that this team could end up making the playoffs. I still think this team could win the AL West. And if we don't win the AL West, and if the Rangers or Athletics do, I still think that we can get the second place spot if that ends up happening and get in with a wild card. Even though we've had all these things go wrong, I still think that we are still one of the better teams, in the American League, even though we haven't been able to prove it yet. First pitch to Tatis is high and inside and has to hit the deck. 1-0 count. All right, Paisley's at the door. She wants to come in. I hear you. Hi, honey. Sit down over here. Lay down. Good girl. Miss you. All right, Paisley's in here. 1-0 pitch, fouled off right down the middle. Slider 86 miles an hour there by Nick Davila. 1 ball and 1 strike to Fernando Tatis Jr. 1-1 pitch from Davila. Low and away, sinker at 93 miles an hour. 2 balls and 1 strike from Davila to Tatis Jr. Global broadcast here on Fox. We're on Sunday Night Baseball on NBC and Peacock tomorrow. I would prefer to be on Mariners TV, but it is what it is. 2-1 pitch, high and inside. Davila almost hits Tatis again. 3 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and no outs. Top of the 8th inning. Mariners down by 5. Three-one pitch from Davila. Low away, and Tatis Jr. goes to first with a walk. Next up, 0 for 2 with a run and a base on ball. DHing today, Manny Machado. A walk in the 4th and a run. First pitch is high and inside with a 4-seam fastball. 94 miles an hour there by Nick Davila. 1-0 count. One-zero pitch from Davila. Runner goes. Got him! What a throw by Johnny Pareda, getting Fernando Tatis Jr. out from going from first to second. Great job there by Pareda. Down goes Tatis. Great throw. Great tag by Cole Young. Beautiful throw there by Johnny Pareda. And that is 1 away. Great job, Johnny. One pitch, low and away. Slider 87 miles an hour by Nick Davila. 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 8th inning. Mariners down by 5. 2-1 pitch from Davila. Hard hit ball towards third. Line drive right to Leo Rivas. And I don't know how the hell he caught that, but great job by Leo. Goes down on his butt and ends up taking that line drive, and it goes right into his mitt. Great job, Leo. A laser to third, and Leo with some great defense there. Next up is Gavin Sheets. First pitch is low and at the knees with a slider, 87 miles an hour, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike to Gavin Sheets. I mean, really, we just need to get healthy. I mean, that's really the problem, and certain players need to play better. Gilbert, Castillo, Munoz, and then getting back Brash and Spire, and obviously Cal and Brendan Donovan on the regular. So, I mean, there's a lot of critical pieces, a couple star players, couple star pitchers, closer, number 1 and number 3 in the pen injured. There's a reason why, things are going sideways. We haven't really proven that we can hit, every day, and we're very home run dependent, and we don't usually, get big home runs every game, and the pitching isn't good every game. So, we actually have to be thankful that we're only 2 games below 500. We could be a hell of a lot worse than that. We've had a few monster comebacks, and again, things will get better, but again, we need to get healthy. We have way more injuries and way more poor play this year than the start of last year. We didn't have Kirby for the first 2-3 months. We had Logan for a little bit, and then he missed a month and a half, but we didn't really have a whole lot of major injuries. Victor Robles went down early, diving in the wall, netting, and that barrier in San Francisco. Obviously lost him and Ryan Bliss early, but, Bliss is a AAA player, but we definitely didn't have as many injuries or poor play as we do at the moment now. And that ends up being ball 4, Sheets to first. Next up in the 5-hole, shortstop Xander Bogaerts. All right, looks like Nick Davila's day is done. Looks like Domingo Gonzalez is coming in. Yeah, and you got to also realize how many AAA players we have in the pen. It's not ideal, to have all these inexperienced guys coming in. So that baseball is unpredictable. All right, Domingo Gonzalez coming in. All right, top of the 8th inning, runner at first with 2 outs. Mariners down by 5. Bogaerts in the box, and we just got to wait after the commercial break here for Domingo Gonzalez. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 38 subs away from 24,100. We're at 107 on the Dono train for the Paisley Pup Vet Fund to take her for her ear infection on Monday. We're at 107.93 to go there. And we're at 121 likes. $79 to $200. All right, Sheets at first with the walk. Little dribbler right up the middle, toe tap on the bag, and that was as quick as it possibly could have been. And nice job there by Domingo Gonzalez getting that last out. And now we go to the bottom of the 8th, and again, we're going to need some kind of meltdown in the 8th and the 9th. We're going to need to put up 2 or 3 runs here in the bottom of the 8th and 2 or 3 runs in the 9th. And the chance of that happening is pretty slim to none if we're being honest. But, we have been pretty good on getting guys on base in the 8th and 9th recently. But can we actually get them in? We had a few opportunities yesterday, and we ended up losing 2-0 Hopefully we can end up getting as close to 5 as possible to, have a little momentum going into tomorrow with George Kirby on the mound. Just got to do it for Rez, baby. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 3 with a K, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. We could really use a home run right here. Batting second, 2 for 3 with a run, first baseman Josh Naylor. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a base on ball and a K, left fielder Randy Arozarena. And I'm really hoping that Donnie will be in the lineup tomorrow, because it just feels like when Donnie's not in the lineup, we don't win. It's very rare, it feels like, that we win games when he's not playing. He's that important to the team offensively and defensively. And it also takes, Leo out of the lineup as well. All right, Alec Jacob is coming in. All right, Alec Jacob coming in. First pitch from Alec Jacob, low and away with the sinker, 82 miles an hour to Julio. 1-0 count. 2 pop-ups and a strikeout for Julio here today. And a hard hit ball into right field, and a nice single there for Julio. Here we go. A little bit of late inning heroics for the Mariners. We got to celebrate all the little things. Nice job, J-Rod. Next up is Josh Naylor, who's having a good game today, 2 for 3. We could really use a 2-run jack right here to kind of cut into this lead here if possible. First pitch into Naylor, big swing and a miss, low and away. Change up 74 miles an hour by Alec Jacob. 0-1 count. Oh, 0-1 pitch, high and inside, close to the head there to Naylor. Four-seam fastball, 86 miles an hour by Alec Jacob. 1 ball and 1 strike with a runner at first, Julio, with no outs. Bottom of the 8th, we're down by 5. We need to score 2 or 3 in this inning if possible. 1-1 pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and 1 strike from Jacob to Naylor. And this is definitely the most wild, pitcher that we've seen so far. Hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of Jacob here. 2-1 pitch. That one almost hits Naylor again, and Julio ends up stealing a bag. There we go. We got a runner in scoring position. Here we go. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Three-one pitch. Inside, almost hits Naylor again, and now that is a walk. We got a meltdown. All right, we got runners now at first and second with no outs. Next up is Randy Arozarena. On deck will be Luke Raley. Let's go. I mean, if Randy can get on with a walk or a single and we can get a grand slam out of Luke and make this game 7-6, you know, we definitely would have a chance to come back in the ninth. There's no doubt about that. But this would be great, you know, if we could end up putting up 5-6 runs in this inning. Remember, Emerson Hancock had a 6-2 lead, and Mooney and Ferrer gave up 5 runs in the ninth, and we lost 7-6. You know, so again, it would be only fitting as if we could end up returning the favor. I would love to win this game 8-7, but you know, a miracle would have to happen. That's for damn sure. Come on, Randy. See if we get a single, double, triple, home run, 3-run jack, get walked, get hit by a pitch and not hurt. Let's just keep going. Bottom of the 8th, down by 5, runners at first and second with no outs. And both runners go, and safe. Here we go. Double steal by Julio going to third and Naylor getting to second. Here we go. I mean, how often do you see a double steal in baseball? Not often. Great call there. And Josh is safe after the replay. Definitely feels like we're going to score a couple, but how many are we going to score here in this inning? 0-1 pitch. He can't hit the strike zone here. Low and away with the changeup. 1 ball and 1 strike from Jacob to Arozarena. I mean, if you just don't swing, you know, for a majority of these pitches, you know, we could end up loading the bases here. 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. 4-seam fastball. High and away. And if he wouldn't have swung at that, it still would have been a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Come on, Randy. Need a little bit of that Mariner magic, baby. Let's go. You know, again, we're resilient. No matter how many runs we're down. Line drive up the middle. Oh, he dropped it. Go, go, go. Yes. Let's go. Julio scores. And Sung Moon Soon, who comes in, obviously, as a, you know, replacement defensively, you know, within the last few innings, makes the mistake. And now Randy with an infield single to second. Julio scoring and Naylor to third. Let's go. And that's one thing about this Mariner team. You know, no matter, you know, how many guys are hurt, no matter how many guys are playing like shit, no matter, you know, if we don't got, you know, Cal and you know, and Donnie in the lineup, you know, and no matter how many runs we're down, you know, we really do fight, you know, at the end of the game. Like, you know, are there going to be games where we get, you know, donutted and we ended up getting a 0 like yesterday? Of course, you know, but more times than not in the 8th and the 9th inning, you know, we're going to put guys on base. You know, and it's going to be up to that, you know, individual like Randy right there to get the key RBI if you're not going to get the home run. And now we're just kind of, you know, slicing away. We're just, you know, crawling and scratching our way slowly but surely. And again, sometimes you just need a meltdown or two. We're not going to see Mason Miller today, so we need to take advantage of that. It just sucks that fucking Gilbert gave up 3 home runs. You know, if Logan Gilbert, you know, only gives up 3 runs and the game's tied 3-3 right now, we probably win this game for sure, you know. So, you know, unfortunate that he had to give up 3 and had another shitty outing, but, you know, we're still, you know, kind of, you know, scratching away, clawing away. And now we got runners at first and third with no outs, and we got Luke Raley. Imagine if Luke hits a home run here, boom, 7-6, no outs. I mean, we could end up taking the lead. And again, you know, we had a meltdown by Munoz and Ferrer when we were up 6-2. Hancock should have got the win. That was in San Diego, right? And it would be only fitting if we can give them a little bit of revenge and payback. I love this team. You know, I know it's frustrating, you know, rooting for this team sometimes, you know, with the injuries and the poor play, you know, but again, you know, I wouldn't want to root for anybody else. You know, I've been a fan of this team, you know, since the mid 80s, and nothing will ever change that. It's my favorite team out of all the teams that I follow. You know, I love NFL. I love college football. You know, I'll occasionally watch a little bit of NHL and NBA, but not a lot. You know, I do like WWE and AEW prior to the merger with TKO and whatnot. But, you know, get comfortable. Paisley's readjusting herself, and hopefully we can get a big play here out of Luke Raley next. And we got Manny Acta acting as a manager instead of Dan Wilson. So if Dan was managing, maybe Luke Raley and Dominic Canzone got replaced by Ref Snyder and Joe. So thankfully that happened. And, and they're going to bring in Maury Hone. This is going to be tough. Adrian Maury Hone is coming in. And he kind of shut the door down on us yesterday. First pitch, big, swing and a miss. Adrian Morejon on the mound, and we got Luke Raley in the box. And again, I'd rather have Luke Raley, play every day than ever see Ref Snyder or Joe. But, that's obviously a lot of us in the room feel that way. But managers will manage. And Morejon to first. And Randy is safe. Randy at first. Naylor at third. Julio scored off the RBI by Randy moments ago to make it 7-3. And we have runners on the corners with no outs. Come on, Luke. We need a nuke. We need a nuke from Luke. 0-1 pitch. Big. Swing and a miss. Slider high and away. 88 miles an hour by Adrian Morejon, one of the better lefty bullpen pitchers in the league. They got a good pitching staff and a good bullpen and the best closer and a lot of great bats. I mean, they're one of the best teams in baseball for a reason. 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes Raley. And that's unfortunate, but Morejon is that guy. And that is one away. Next up is the 6-hole hitter, second baseman Cole Young on deck, Dominic Canzone. Come on, Mariners. We got to see if we can squeak out another run or two. If we can get it to 7-5 and then only need 2 runs in the ninth, it should give us, a chance, and not a big chance, but a chance. Come on, Cole. First pitch, takes a strike, looking with a sinker, low and away, 99 miles an hour by Adrian Morejon. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. Slider 87 miles an hour there by Morejon. 1 ball and 1 strike with runners on the corners at first and third with 1 out. Bottom of the 8th, we're down by 4. Let's see if we can get 1 or 2 more. And if we're really lucky, maybe 3 more. If we can end up getting a big home run from someone. 1-1 pitch. Little dribbler there by Cole Young. Run, run! And the fielder's choice. Randy is out at second, but Naylor comes home. And now it's 7-4. Here we go. Nice job there by Cole. Little RBI single. We're plugging away. And instead of Dominic Canzone, now it's going to be Rob Ref Snyder. We need a Ref Snyder home run to make it 7-6. And if that happens, we're on our way to coming back and winning. So no Dom, and we're going to go Rob Ref Snyder. If we get a strike right down the middle and Rob can connect, it could be 7-6. Ref Snyder, is one of those guys that, started off the year, 0 for 20-ish. It was really bad. And then it started to get a little bit better. Still not a very reliable hitter. Ref Snyder, Joe, Gardner, Rivas. We got quite a few of them, but let's see if Rob can channel in, something positive here. Bottom of the 8th, 7-4 Padres. Now we're only down by 3. But if we can cut into the lead a little bit more, it would be great. First pitch, big swing and a miss by Rob Ref Snyder. Sinker, 99 miles an hour, right down the middle from Adrian Morejon. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, big swing and a miss. Morejon is locked in. No balls and 2 strikes to Rob Ref Snyder. But I'm proud of this team to even get 2 runs in the 8th. A lot of teams would have just rolled over and got nothing and just would have been depressed and gave up. But the Mariners never give up, even though we'll, end up getting shut out from time to time. They'll definitely, put out, a good effort more times than not, especially late in games, by getting guys on base for at least a chance, to get that home run or RBI. And yesterday we weren't able to cash in with runners on base in the 8th and the 9th, but we did get 2 runs here in the 8th. 1-2 pitch, low and away. Change up 91 miles an hour there by Adrian Morejon. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Rob Refsnyder. Come on, Rob. Adrian Morejon on the mound. Rob Refsnyder in the box. And Pareda is on deck. 2-2 pitch. Check swing. And just got a piece. Sinker at 99 miles an hour. Looks like it deflected off Duran. Hopefully he's okay. The catcher for San Diego. Bottom of the 8th. 7-4 San Diego, which is a hell of a lot better than 5-0 at the beginning of the game, and a hell of a lot better than 7-2, but again, we're going to have to really dig deep, in the 9th inning and hope that they don't score any more, and then we have our best inning of the game at that point. 2-2 pitch to Refsnyder, and that gets fouled back to the booking.com sign. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Rob Refsnyder. Two pitch from Morejon, and a little dribbler. And a throw to second just in time to get Cole Young, and that is out number 3. All right, so, it might be a small chance, but again, we got 2 runs there in the 8th. Now we just need 3 in the 9th, but we got to hope that they don't score anymore. A good effort by the Mariners in the 8th, getting 2. Next up, 0 for 3 with a run and an RBI, third baseman Miguel Andujar. Batting second would have been Nick Castellanos, but they're going to make that substitution that they did defensively with Song. So let me bring that up. All right, so they're going to go Miguel Andujar, Sung-Moon Song, and then I believe Ramon Laureano. $38 subs to go to 24,100. Looks like we gained another sub since the last commercial break. Appreciate you. We're at 107 on the Dono train for Paisley's vet visit on Monday. 93 to go. And let's see where we're at on the likes. See how close we are to 150. All right, we're at 126. All right, we're at 126 likes, 24 to 150. First pitch, line drive right in front of Julio, and Andujar with a single. And they still got Domingo Gonzalez out there. Next up for Domingo Gonzalez, Sung-Moon Song. Try dance up. Let's go, M's. And Andujar tries to end up jumping the gun. Nice throw. JP tags him out, and that is one away. Nice job there by Johnny Pareda. You know, he's like Leo Rivas. They might not be able to hit, but they can play some fucking good defense. Nice there by Johnny. Great throw. Right on the money. Second runner that he's thrown out in the game already. Johnny's been the best defensive catcher on the team so far. Cal, you know, was injured and kind of throwing wide right. Garver, you know, has had a couple, but in his limited action, you know, Johnny has probably been the best on throwing guys out in his, you know, short time here with the Mariners. Pitch is high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Domingo Gonzalez to Sungmoon Song. 2-1 pitch to Song, and a hard hit ball into right field and drops in front of Luke Raley. Back-to-back singles for the Padres with 1 out. And next up, in the 8-hole, left fielder Ramon Laureano. On deck will be Rodolfo Duran. 1 for 3 with a double in the 7th and a run. First pitch popped up and out of play. Four-seam fastball, 91 miles an hour there by Domingo Gonzalez. Top of the 9th inning, Mariners down by 3. 7-4 Padres. Would be nice to get a slow dribbler up the middle for a double play to end the inning. But we'll take any way that we can get these last 2 outs. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike right down the middle. Slider 85 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes to Ramon Laureano. Right ends up. Let's go, M's. 0-2 pitch. Popped up into shallow right field. Luke Raley is there. And that is 2 away. Next up in the 9-hole, 1 for 3 with a run, 2 RBIs, and a big home run, Rodolfo Duran. Throw to first, and Sungmoon Song is safe. First pitch, high and inside to Duran. Slider 84 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Top of the 9th inning, 7-4 Padres. Domingo Gonzalez on the mound. Rodolfo Duran in the box. 1-0 pitch. Fouled off into right field, out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike with a runner at first and 2 outs. Top of the 9th inning, 7-4 San Diego. One pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Rodolfo Duran. And we can't let them score any more. I mean, even trying to get 3 runs in the 9th is going to be a big ask, but it's doable. I mean, we were able to get 2 in the 8th, and sometimes when the Mariners get a couple runs in the 8th, we usually do it in the 9th as well. But will we be able to get 3? That's the big question. Throw to first, and Song is safe. Two-one pitch from Gonzalez, high and away. 3 balls and 1 strike to Rodolfo Duran. Duran in the box, and Domingo Gonzalez on the mound. 3-1 pitch. Popped up. Deep center field, all the way back to the wall. Wow! And Julio robs the home run. Wow, that would have been game over for sure. And Julio jumps up in the no-fly zone and robs a home run. And that would have been Duran's 2nd home run of the game. What a great show of robbery of the home run right there. You know, again, that was definitely Julio King Griffey Jr. at its very finest. That was sweet. Nice job there by Julio Rodriguez. All right, now we just have to be able to find a way to start a rally here in the bottom of the ninth. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 3 with 2 Ks, Johnny Pereda. Batting second, 0 for 3 with a K, third baseman Leo Rivas, which is not ideal. And batting third, 1 for 4 with a run, RBI, and 2 Ks, shortstop J.P. Crawford. On the flip side, at least it's not going to be Mason Miller, but not, having our two worst hitters, being the first two guys hitting here late is not ideal with Pereda and Rivas. But you never know. Maybe they'll get walked. Maybe they'll get hit by a pitch. And maybe by some crazy means, they'll find a way to get on base. Let's win it for Rez, baby. Let's go to the bottom of the ninth. We're down by 3. Estrada is coming in for Morihon. 37 likes to be able to get to, or 37 subs to get to 24,100. We're at 130 likes, 20 more to get to 150. And we're at 107 on the Dono train for the Paisley Pup Vet Fund on Monday. Going to take care of that ear infection that she got for the first time. And any amount of support will definitely help. Great timing there by Julio. No fly zone, baby. One of the better Julio highlights, at center field you'll ever see. It makes you kind of wonder, with Julio, when he ends up robbing a home run, just like any player, 9 times out of 10, they don't keep the ball, but every once in a blue moon, they will, especially if it ends up being out number 3. And I don't know if Julio, decided to end up keeping that ball, but that definitely would be, one that you could keep for sure. First pitch into Johnny Pereda, line drive into left, and Ramon Laureano is there. Unfortunately, that is 1 away. And you get pretty hard hit balls, out of Pereda, but, line drive, hard hit balls, not ideal when they drop right into a glove. All right, Connor Joe is hitting for Leo Rivas. And Joe has a better chance of getting a hit than Rivas, so. Maybe not by much, but slightly. 214 average, 1 homer, 3 ribbies by Connor Joe. Come on, Joe. Yo, Joe. First pitch is high and away. 1-0 count. One-0 pitch from Estrada to Joe. Check swing. Does he go? No, he does not. 2 balls and no strikes to Connor Joe. Joe pops that one up and out of play. 2 balls and 1 strike to Connor Joe. Jeremiah Estrada on the mound. Connor Joe in the box. Come on, Connor. 2-1 pitch from Estrada. Low and away. Splitter 84 miles an hour missing. Let's see if Joe can force a walk here. 3 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and 1 out. Bottom of the 9th inning. Mariners down by 3, and we need a miracle. Next up on deck is J.P. Crawford, who homered early in the game. 3-1 pitch. And that ends up being a walk. Here we go. Good at bat there for Connor Joe. Next up is J.P. Crawford. And if we could end up having J.P. hit a homer here, making it 7-6, we would be right in business. And then on deck would be Julio Rodriguez. I mean, best case scenario, J.P. and Julio go back-to-back with home runs, and then the game is tied 7-7. But that's a big what if. First pitch, low and at the knees with a splitter by Jeremiah Estrada. 83 miles an hour, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. Bottom of the ninth inning, 7-4 Padres with a runner at first, Connor Joe with 1 out. Come on, Mariners. Trident's up. Let's rally. 1-0 pitch. And JP with a little blooper, and it drops. There we go. There we go. Runners at first and second with 1 out, and now Julio Rodriguez with 1 swing could tie the game up. Let's go, J-Rod. Let's go, Julio. 1 for 4 with a single run, 2 stolen bags today. Come on, J-Rod. We have a lot of heart and a lot of fight in us, no matter how much, we end up getting down by. First pitch, big swing and a miss there by Julio. Slider, 87 miles an hour by Jeremiah Estrada. 0-1 count. Bottom of the ninth, we're down by 3. We got runners at first and second with 1 out. And if we can just get a fucking epic meltdown here by Jeremiah Estrada, we could come back. 0-1 pitch, high and inside, 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. Come on, Mariners. Let's find a way to win this game 8-7. Somehow, some way. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 1-1 pitch from Estrada. Big swing and a miss right down the middle. Splitter, 82 miles an hour, fooling Julio. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 1 out. Bottom of the ninth, 7-4 San Diego. Come on, Julio. Come on, J-Rod. 1-2 pitch. Hard hit ball towards third base and foul. One ball and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 1 out. Global broadcast here on Fox, and we're on Sunday Night Baseball on NBC tomorrow. 1-2 pitch from Jeremiah Estrada. Low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. We just need Estrada to have a fucking meltdown. Come on. Two pitch from Estrada, and Julio fouls that one off into right field. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Bottom of the ninth, 7-4 Padres. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Come on, J-Rod. 2-2 pitch. Good take. Low and away. Splitter, 83 miles an hour, missing by Jeremiah Estrada. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Count now is full with runners at first and second and 1 out. Come on, Mariners. Three-two pitch. Julio with a little dribbler towards third. And a step on third base. And that will be 2 away. Crawford to second, Joe out at third, Julio safe at first. All right, here we go. Potentially our last batter. Hopefully it's not. With 1 swing, the game can be tied, though, from Josh Naylor. He's due for a home run. Bottom of the ninth, down by 3. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. Josh Naylor is locked in today. Our best hitter, 2 for 3 with 2 runs and a base on ball today. Come on, Josh. Let's go, Nails. And a hard hit ball by Naylor. Flip back to the pitcher. And that is out number 3. Tough. Final score, Padres 7, Mariners 4. Good effort there late in the game, but just couldn't get it done in the 9th. And let's go over the stats of both teams here quickly before we end the stream. Started off with the Padres. All right, Jackson Merrill 0 for 4. Fernando Tatis Jr. 0 for 3. Manny Machado 0 for 3, which is wild that their first 3 batters ended up going 0 for 10 and they still won the game. Gavin Sheets 1 for 2 with a home run. Xander Bogaerts 1 for 4 with a run. Miguel Andujar 1 for 4 with a run. Nick Castellanos 1 for 3 with a 3 RBI home run, which was huge obviously for them at that time. Ramon Laureano 1 for 4 with a run. And Rodolfo Duran 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a home run. So as you can see, that's how they ended up getting to 7. And on the flip side, JP Crawford 2 for 5 with an RBI and a home run. Julio Rodriguez 1 for 5 and a run. Josh Naylor 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Randy Arozarena 1 for 3 with an RBI. Luke Raley 1 for 4. Cole Young 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Dominic Canzone 0 for 2. Johnny Pareda 0 for 4. And Leo Ribas 0 for 3. Final score, Padres 7, Mariners 4. Tough outing, again, just like yesterday. But again, hopefully we'll be able to get the win tomorrow with George Kirby on the mound. So we got to find a way to win at least 1 game out of 3. And again, shout out to all the people that liked, sub, donated, commented, shared. Vapor with a 25er, Vapor with a 50, Sean with a 20, and Patrick with a 12er, helping out with the vet bill for Paisley that I'm going to have to get on Monday. So thank you so much. And again, hopefully we'll be able to bring our A game tomorrow. Bueller gets the win. Gilbert gets the loss. Estrada gets the save. Final score, Padres 7, Mariners 4. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Try to up and go Mariners.